the first round is always tricky. We saw that in Shanghai. Roger nearly lost. How tricky is it really, or do you think he's now in a good shape and really in a mood to win, to have no problems also in the first rounds?
Well, I mean, first of all, he plays against Gilles Muller, who is very dangerous, and a left-hander who has a big serve. And I know that Federer likes to play against big servers, but really no one likes to play against big servers because it's risky. He's going to feel the pressure of playing at home in Basel, that's for sure. Obviously, losing in the first round is out of the question. So I think the first round is when they can lose. Once you win a match, then it becomes easier. But it's always the first round. Doesn't matter how much you practice on the court. Doesn't matter how many years you've played here. It's not the same, and you have to get used to it again. So it's going to be. There's going to be a lot of pressure and most probably a lot of nerves. And no, it's not okay. He cannot lose in the first round. For himself, I'm sure that'll be the worst nightmare possible.
Were you surprised how he won in Shanghai or not?
No, I think that he can still beat the best players in the world on the ATP Tour when it's 2 out of 3 sets. And I think the Grand Slams he can beat the best players in the world in 3 out of 5. But for doing it for 2 weeks is going to be harder and harder the older you get, because physically you just get a little more tired, I think. But no, I mean, how can you be surprised when you talk about Roger Federer?
But the game he played against Novak was really impressive.
I mean, he's been impressive the whole year. So I think that he's now trusting coming forwards and playing more aggressive tennis. And somehow he doesn't lose confidence, even though he lost to Marin Cilic in 3 straight sets in the US Open. Normal players would lose confidence. And for Federer, it seems he just shakes off the loss and he goes to the next place. And he beats the best player in the world. So yeah, it's unbelievably impressive.
What do you think is the biggest goal of Roger this end of the season 2014? Is it the #1? Is it the World Tour series in London, or is it the Davis Cup final?
I have obviously no idea what his goals are, but I would assume that the Davis Cup final is, if he's going to have to rank the 3 #1 in the world or the ATP finals, I would say that the one you haven't won before would mean the most, and I'm sure that he's going to say that as well, and I'm sure he's going to feel that as well.
It's been a lot of talking about the Frenchmen, that they're not playing now in this moment. Is this the right tactics to beat Switzerland, to practice on clay, or is it maybe a danger?
I mean, it could be a danger that you practice too much on clay, that you can get could get tired of it, and that you lose focus because it's so long until the Davis Cup finals. But they're not going to be practicing every day on clay for 3 hours. Now, it gives them a time to really get used to the clay and be, for the Davis Cup final, as good in shape as they are for the French Open. Every player plays better on clay at the end of the clay court season than the beginning. So if they can give themselves the more time, the better. And I'm sure they're not going to be tired. They're going to be so excited. This is the biggest final in Davis Cup, maybe in the history of Davis Cup in many ways, because of the Swiss team with Roger and Stan, and because of the French having the most players in the top, and they haven't won it for more than 10 years. And none of the players on the team have won it. So it's a huge final.
Is there a favorite on this final? Is the home advantage really an advantage or not?
The home advantage is an advantage, and the favorites are Switzerland, for sure, because of the quality of Federer and Wawrinka's game, the quality of their game on clay courts, and most probably the lack of a French clay court specialist as well. But then the crowd is going to be in the French's favor. There's no pressure on the French team, believe it or not, because they're playing against such big names as Federer and Wawrinka. But losing is, on the other hand, not okay for the French team. So they have to win without there really being any problems with them losing to Federer and Wawrinka.
Now, you personally, you know Roger Federer since so many years now. Would it be for you also, would you like him to win this Davis Cup, because maybe it's the last opportunity?
Well, first of all, it's not the last opportunity in Davis Cup, because Davis Cup you can win even though you're not the best player in the world. And because Stan Wawrinka is playing such great tennis, he could carry Roger in the future. And Roger could be, you know, he could win a singles match when he's 38 years old, and he could beat anyone, I'm sure. He's going to be a good doubles player till he's 40 years old easily. Yes, it's great for the tournament because Davis Cup is one of the most important events, if not the most important event in tennis. That is more important for amateur tennis than professional tennis, and it's important for every country that's part of it, because that's how the federation makes money, is through Davis Cup mainly. And to have the best player of all time win Davis Cup, it wouldn't be right if the best player in the world hasn't won Davis Cup. So this is his chance.